What's going on, and welcome back to the Dlzonwlz podcast, brought to you by Dlzonwlz. I am your host, Carter Farthing, and if you haven't watched the previous episodes of the podcast, I definitely recommend you go back and do so now. We're actually streaming on all platforms now. Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, basically anywhere you can get podcasts. Just look for the Dlzonwlz podcast, and you will find it. Today, we have another interview with a local Pacific Northwest drifter. This is Chris. Chris, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
I'm Chris, 22 years old. I drive a cool car, I guess, Laurel. I recently really got into the drift scene out here, and it's been fun so far.
Okay, you said you drive a Laurel. For those of you who aren't really into the car scene and haven't really heard of a Laurel before, tell me what this thing is.
So the Laurel is, in my eyes and most people's eyes, is an S chassis, but four-door. It has full S chassis suspension. It shares the drivetrain from an R32 GTST.
Okay.
So full RB20.
So it is turbo.
Yes, it is turbo.
Okay.
A very small turbo, but however.
I mean, it's got a little bit of power. Do you know how much they make from the factory?
I think factory rated was like 225, 250.
Okay, so I mean, it wasn't a slowpoke. It had something at least.
It had some get up for a luxury sedan.
Yeah, so it wasn't really sold as a sports car, kind of like the 240 was sold as not really a performance car, but more of a poor man's sports car. This was more of a luxury car, right?
Yeah, this was in Nissan's lineup, the poor man's luxury car, actually.
Oh, okay.
Because you had the Gloria and the
that's right.
Zafiro above it.
The bigger ones.
So you had the bigger ones that were a bit nicer, had more features.
And those had the bigger motors, too. Those came with the RB25s, or those RB20 as well?
I believe the Zafiro also came with the same drivetrain.
Okay.
Different suspension, but the Gloria came with a VG30 DET.
Oh, that's right. Those big bodies with a single turbo VG30. Those things were weird.
Extremely.
And they're all automatic, right? None of the big Nissan four-doors came manual?
Mm-hmm. They all came automatic. I believe there was a trim with a single cam RB20E that came manual with these.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and there was also a diesel one.
Oh, kind of like the JZXs. Those came diesel sometimes. That's so weird that they made the big boxy four doors with the diesel motors. Probably the most fuel economic friendly thing you can do for the car.
And probably move a lot slower.
They're a hell of a lot slower.
I just think it's a really cool niche car. It mixes a good blend of that big body four door with the handling of a 240. I like how it feels. It feels sporty. It feels nimble. Even with no power steering, I'm like, ooh, I can take this on the toge.
And for a relatively big car, it's long. It's longer than a 240. It's got the four doors. It's still relatively light too. It's not too monstrous or too, heavy. Like the JZXs can get up to, 4,000 pounds, or definitely a little bit heavier once they're caged. What's this thing weighing in at?
I believe off the import paperwork and my registration, it says 3,080 pounds.
That's only, 350 pounds more than a 240?
Yeah,
not too much more.
It's just extra sheet metal they added.
Yeah, for sure. So what's the story behind you getting this car? Where did you find it? And was this the chassis you were looking for when you were shopping around?
Not really. So my whole thing was I just got a big bonus from the Army. I was working the Army.
Okay, let me get into that first. My actual first question is, what do you do for a living?
I'm in the military. I active duty Army. Kind of ended up there. I do IT for the military, 25 Bravo, if anyone knows what that is.
Okay. Explain what it is. What would that be? What's your day-to-day looking like?
Wake up, go to work, work out. My unit now doesn't do organized PT, so I go work out on my own at the gym.
Okay.
Go to work, have a couple people come in, fix their computers. Usually I put in tickets and make sure everything works for them. A lot of my job is just managing computers, and then when I actually do tactical environment stuff, I manage small networks.
Have you always been into computers, into like the technical side of things, or is that something that the Army kind of pushed you into?
So when I was younger, I was really, really big into building computers. I used to do home networking on the side, so I would $100, I'll come wire your house up for you with Cat 5.
Awesome.
Which is your Ethernet cables. But what it really came down to was when I was joining the military, I had two options that my parents would have let me take. Mm-hmm. One was 12 Bravo.
Okay.
Because they didn't really understand what a combat engineer was.
Okay.
And the other was 25 Bravo. Mm-hmm. And I had a 12 Bravo position picked. And when I went to my recruiters the next day to sign, they'd already given away that 12 Bravo slot. So I got with 25 Bravo.
So you got stuck with your second string pick.
Yeah, I got stuck with, well, I mean, I had 3 other jobs, but they're all the lesser 25 side. I mean, I wouldn't say lesser, but there's signalers get about it.
Gotcha.
They talk to each other about it and get into it. But I kind of ended up in it, you know, been toughing it out. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I don't think I'm cut for it. Like, I'm not cut for it. I just don't enjoy the day-to-day lifestyle.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a job.
It's still a job.
At the end of the day.
I do it my 100%. You know, people around my unit know me really well.
Where have you been stationed so far?
Joint Base Lewis McChord.
Okay,
so
in Tacoma, if you aren't familiar, it's kind of in the Tacoma, Puyallup area in the Pacific Northwest.
Tacoma area. I've got to hop around a couple countries. One I can't really speak about openly, but I've got to travel a little bit. I've got to experience more of the world. Pay is pay.
Okay, yeah.
You know, pays my bills. I have food in my belly.
That's good. And you have a big boxy 4-door right-hand drive turbo drift slut.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. I mean, drift slut / daily driver. Because, I mean, you're daily driving this thing at this point, aren't you?
As of right now, hopefully by the end of this weekend, I will not be.
Okay.
I'll have my, I have a 91 Legacy I tend to daily.
Gotcha.
Which is a little bit more fuel economic.
Yeah, and definitely better in the winter months in the Pacific Northwest.
Mm-hmm. It definitely handles a lot better than...
I've daily driven drift cars during rainy months in the Pacific Northwest, and, I mean... It's a shit show. I mean, you can't turn a corner without getting to full lock.
Yeah, you give it a little tap, and you're like, I'm sideways now. I gotta hold it.
Any on-ramp getting onto the freeway with a welded diff, you're just trying to keep the thing on the fucking road.
Everyone's looking at you like you're insane.
You can't even get up to speed. So let's get into how you became the owner of a Laurel. How were you looking around for right-hand drive cars, or were you looking for something like this?
Honestly, I was just looking for... I still had my 240 in California. I was just looking for something to replace my Supra I had just recently sold.
Okay. It was that a Mark III Supra?
Mark III Supra. I miss it I should have never sold it.
Okay.
I miss it every day. But
was it a 7 MGTE? Was it turbo or just GE?
I got it for $1,600.
There you go.
5-speed manual with a VLSD.
Was it silver?
Black.
Ooh, it was a good one.
88. Yeah.
Damn.
Spare set of wheels. I bought another box of parts off a different guy for $300. Came with almost every GT piece I needed to convert it.
Shit, that's back in the days where you can get turbo parts for cheap.
Yeah, and then he also threw in a set of wheels with brand new tires.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I miss those deals.
Yeah, but the environment's changed.
Yeah.
But I was just looking for a replacement for that because at the time I was still dailying. I owned 3 Subaru Legacy wagons. I was still dailying that. I didn't really have anything fun or sporty or anything with power. And this was actually my first turbocharged vehicle I'd ever gotten.
Okay.
And I heard about right-hand drive specialties, and this was when they had a good crew for a period because I've heard they.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with right-hand drive specialties at the moment. There's a huge controversy on Facebook and on Instagram with a huge hate mob. Just kind of, I mean, there have been stories that have checked out and they have sold some cars with some issues that were not disclosed.
Yeah.
Which is not good, obviously.
Yeah.
But when you're dealing with 25-year-old shit boxes, I mean, at the end of the day, we're all obsessed with paying way too much for cars that are not worth it and really aren't that cool to start with. I mean, we all hate to say it, but we're all looking at pieces of shit that came from a small, salty island on the other side of the earth that, I mean, the cars are cool. And obviously this has been my entire life is chasing right-hand drive turbo cars, and I love it, but you can't really fault them for selling cars that are 25 years old. Obviously they should do their due diligence and get the cars checked if they're going to be asking $30, $35, $40, $45, $50, $55, $60, $70, $70,000 for a Skyline. But if you're spending $50 or $60 or $70,000 on a Skyline, I would spend the extra $2,500 to have someone come and check the car out that knows what they're looking at. So there is blame on the dealerships, and it not even just right-hand drive specialties. I don't want to just call them out because they are a reputable company. At the end of the day, they've sold hundreds, if not thousands, of right-hand drive cars without problem.
With zero fault, yeah.
With zero fault. And I've dealt with people that have dealt with right-hand drive specialties that have nothing but credible and good things to say about them. And I've had personal conversations with Carlos, and he's a fantastic dude. But things go wrong, especially when you're running a business. You can't just put the blame on someone solely when mistakes were made, because I mean, we're all human at the end of the day. So you obviously got this thing from Right Hand Drive Specialties.
So I was looking at a JZX, and it was a little bit out of my ballpark because I actually took a personal loan with the title as collateral for this. It's finally paid off, but I wanted to only put $3,000 down. Gotcha. And the JZX was sitting at $14,000. I actually got on the phone with Carlos, and they work with military really well because I think he's ex-Navy, I believe.
Yeah, and they offer military discounts for any active or veterans, for anyone who wants to buy a car from Right Hand Drive Specialties, which is a good thing, obviously.
They store vehicles as well for deployments. My last one, I was going to store it with them, but I just decided to leave it at my place. I had a buddy watching it anyway, so
that's good.
It's better than driving to Auburn.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I would have had to get a ride back. But beyond that, I was looking at a JZX, and I forget his name. It was an older dude, white hair, beard, kind of taller. He's ex-Navy. And, he was like, hey, why don't you look at this?
So he worked at Right Hand Drive Specialties?
And he pointed at the Laura, and he's like, yeah, this is period correct, and it's really nifty. They're really cool. You've been expressing that you like older Nissans.
So he strays you away from the big four-door turbo Toyota and kind of points you towards the big four-door turbo Nissan.
Yeah, and
you drive a Nissan at this point, so you're not unfamiliar. You're kind of into it, I'm guessing. Mm-hmm. Well, obviously very into it.
Yeah, I mean, I love driving it down the street. I get looks all the time.
Yeah.
But I spoke to them. They were like, well, your military will drop, I think they had it listed at like $1,250 because it did have 201,000 miles. I think it's like 212 now.
Holy crap. Yeah. I mean, it's up there.
I mean, it's an RB20. They're the strongest RBs.
Most reliable RBs.
Most reliable. They
Not the strongest.
No, their cylinder walls are actually thicker than RB25 and 26.
Okay. But strongest would mean power, wouldn't it?
I'm saying strongest, like
strongest
reliability-wise.
Okay, let's just say, it's the most reliable RB.
Yeah, it'll take the most kicks.
It'll take the most kicks to the teeth.
Okay. Yeah, love seat rev limiter. Mm-hmm. But he was like,
they sound the best.
They sound so good.
They sound really good. Do you follow R32 Brad with the fully built RB20?
No.
It sounds like a fucking bat out of hell, dude. I'll have to show you later. I'll probably insert a clip in right now.
Jarrett Robbins he had his RB20 and his R32 GTSC with the Skyline kit.
Yeah.
And he was showing me, he's like, so I'm kind of following his build for his RB20.
Okay.
Man, that thing sounded mean.
Yeah, I remember that thing bouncing off rev limiter a shit ton, but I guess I didn't realize that it was an RB20 in that thing.
Yep.
Okay, so you end up obviously purchasing the car at a discount from Right Hand Drive Specialties.
$11,000. $11,042, I believe.
And it was bone stock, automatic, or were there modifications done to the car?
It was manual swapped.
Oh, it was manual swapped.
It's still manual swapped.
Oh, I did not know. I thought you had manual swapped it. I didn't know it was manual. That's awesome.
It used to have a parking pole on the front that got taken off on the I-5 one day, just windy and shit. Yeah, I found out later that it was an S15 parking pole.
Oh, really?
And they're really expensive.
I bet.
I want to buy another,
especially now.
I've been waiting on that because they're up there in price. It came with Longchamps. It's still on the same Jick Magics that are definitely blown, so I bought new coils recently to install. And it had HKS high power and the Impul shift knob.
Oh, nice.
And
add tasteful little race car modifications done to it.
Yeah, I had the cat and mid pipe, the mid muffler deleted on the HKS high power, and I guess the shop that I had it done at, because I don't do my own exhaust work, my welding isn't that good.
Yeah.
Me alone.
It's hard.
It's hard, and getting all the pipe bends right.
You have to be an artist.
Yeah, exactly. I guess he didn't bolt up the bolt that held the high power to the bottom of the car.
Okay.
Like fully, so it was loose. So I was driving on the base one day, and they have these weird security gates that fly up. Yeah. Like if you're trying to rush on a base to attack, I guess.
Yeah.
But they dipped down, and it dipped down.
Oh, and just caught it.
It ripped it off.
No.
Cracked my downpipe. Cracked my turn, my elbow.
Oh yeah, your Yeah, your turbo level.
Yeah, so everything from the back, we actually had to file down the back of my turbo to make it flat again.
Oh no!
From my turbo back was ruined.
Yeah,
my
because
bumper,
that probably took the brute of most of the fucking force. Because everything on your exhaust just pretty much bolts to the back of your turbo, and then if that's getting caught, it's just something you don't want.
All my flanges that were flat like this were bent like this.
Oh no!
So I had mad exhaust leaks. I was actually running just downpipe for a while. Because I didn't have an exhaust on it.
How'd that sound?
Mean.
Yeah, I bet.
It felt like it actually had a little bit more power because it was just a little bit more free-flowing.
Yeah, I'm sure that's just the sound.
Yeah, it was just, sound is fast, right?
Yeah, sound is fast. Ask any 350Z driver.
Exactly, yeah. It sounds like a trumpet. It's going down the road and it's fast.
Yeah.
But I got that replaced at a local exhaust shop, it's Expert Import Auto and Exhaust.
Shout out.
Guy's name is David, really cool. He got mad at me for my car being so low getting on his lift, but beyond that, like he did full exhaust for 180, just straight pipe, and he actually welded my hangers to my frame like I asked.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
So
definitely the way you do it. That's how we did in the Mustang too. I mean, it's solid. Nothing's taking the exhaust off that thing.
Exactly.
Especially, if you're doing track days and getting on and off the trailer, that's the last thing you want to worry about is your exhaust scraping off and obviously ruining everything like it did on base.
Yeah, I do it more for the I can stand on my exhaust now.
Yeah, if you haven't followed him on Instagram, he does the clout pics on his standing on his tailpipe.
I have a new replacement for that when I get into building it. But yeah, I got the car. Funny story about the right-hand drive and their unreliability and their best experience I've ever had dealing with anyone selling me a car.
Okay.
I get it maybe 15 minutes down the road from them. There's a Costco. I get gas because they can't sell the cars with X amount of gas in it.
Oh, really?
Because they import them with empty gas tanks and they fill them to a certain amount. So I only have like a quarter tank. I get to Costco, fill it up. My phone's about to die, so I run in. I buy like a phone charger and charge my phone in the car. I'm driving down the street and the car just dies.
Oh, shit.
I'm like, oh, shit. So some people, speed around me. A couple people help me push into somebody's driveway, and I call Carlos. I'm like, hey, Carlos, the Laurel literally just died 15 minutes away.
Yeah. And this is after you filled it up, after you put gas in it?
Yes.
Okay.
So he's like, hold on, give me a minute. He's like, give me your location. Send him my location, send him a pin, sitting in the car, just waiting, chilling out. Maybe 45 minutes to an hour later, the right-hand drive specialties work
Silverado
truck rolls up.
Yep.
6 dudes hop out.
There you go.
And they start working on my car. They're like, okay, we got to figure it out. They're pulling the coolant temp sensor, checking it. They're checking everything. And they were like, oh wait, we put a new fuel pump in this thing because I guess when they had shipped it, the fuel pump had died on the way through.
Okay.
So it also has a Blox 300 LPH.
Oh, so it's got an upgraded fuel pump in it?
Beefy one.
Yeah.
Nice and beefy. It doesn't give me any issues. Sounds nice too.
That's good.
Is
it loud?
It is loud.
That's good.
It's loud on startup. It's like
makes it feel like a race car.
Yeah, race car vibes. So they hop out. They pull. They do their checks. They pull my fuel pump, and they had originally soldered it to the connections.
Okay. And they broke.
And one of the solder tips broke, so they just cut, stripped, and recrimped and slide connectors. My preferred way, anyways.
That definitely makes more sense.
Yeah, but solder sometimes works.
Yeah, if it's soldered correctly, it should hold up. But a weak solder is or soldering's definitely hard. Just like exhaust work.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, they got me put back together. They chilled. I actually ran down to one of the corner stores and got like Red Bulls and snacks for everyone, including me.
Nice.
I was like, okay, cool. Like, what do I owe you? Like, oh no, it's cool.
Well, they took care of you, and then after that, obviously, you were on your way. Didn't really have any problems with it. How's the reliability been on it since then?
The only time I've had an issue with the reliability is when I first tried to wire in my watt box.
Okay.
So I originally was going to put a watt box on this vehicle. I want to be one of the first with an RB with a watt box, just for the flat foot shift. I wired in a clutch position sensor because they actually didn't come with neutral safety switches. But it ended up not working, and I had to pull my ignition pack, the dreaded Nissan RB VG SR ignition block. Yep. That will just randomly die.
And it costs $900 for some reason.
Yeah, it costs a lot to replace, and I plugged it back in after I was done, messing around with wiring. Excuse me. And it ended up misfiring for like 3 days. Oh, and finally I just pulled it. And I've been talking to my buddies with RBs. They're like, oh, we'll check this, we'll check that, check all the grounds. I'd gone through everything on it. And finally I just pulled it and sprayed MAF cleaner on the pins on both sides and just scrubbed it, sprayed MAF cleaner into the pin, scrubbed it some more, put it all back together and stop misfiring.
There you go.
Just some corrosion. But beyond that, this car has been nothing but reliable. The only times that it's ever not reliable is when I pop tires on the i5.
Yeah, debeads a little bit.
Just slightly. It's fine.
So you never got the watt box to work on this thing?
No, so I ended up going with a BR.
Okay.
Just
the rev limiter gets more pops and bangs.
It gets more pops and bangs. I did want the watt box, but I realized that at some point I'm going to build the car, and I'm going to put a standalone ECU that it's going to have flat foot shift.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm going to be able to
go with a Link or something.
Actually, I went with an ECU Master EMU.
Oh, you already
Classic.
got one?
Yes.
Oh, it's a Classic? Nice.
With the adapter and boost controller.
That's a nice setup for this thing.
Yeah.
Keeping it true to the roots.
I got this July 24th. I'm supposed to be at Intech tuning it.
Okay, so let's get into your future plans with it. You obviously have some parts sitting around ready to put onto it.
Yeah, so actually this weekend, whoever watches it will be kind of confused.
Yeah.
I have brand new ISR coilovers I went with because everyone else was either like $1,500 for a set of coils. I'm not going with Broadways. I'm not going with BCs. I've heard good things about the ISRs, so I went with a set of those. They're track ones.
Okay.
I got them for 30% off too. So
nice.
I was like, ooh, good
awesome.
price. CX Racing manifold.
Okay.
People talk bad about them. I've heard a lot of good things too. It's just hit or miss.
And it's going to be top mount or bottom mount?
Top mount. CX Racing top mount. I got a Tile 38 mil wastegate.
Nice.
Borg Warner S256 XE. So that's a
upgrading the turbo as well. Putting a what size turbo is that?
63.
63 millimeter turbo on it. Top mount manifold, so it's going to look good too.
Mm-hmm.
And then so you're doing the manifold, the turbo, the suspension. What else you got for it?
Brand new brakes, just off an S13 with Ultima pads.
Nice.
It's weird brake setup on this.
So this thing's still 4-lug. So does it share the same front hub and knuckle everything as the S13 or?
Yes and no.
Yes and no. Okay.
The S13 caliper sits a little bit closer to the brake.
So it's got a smaller rotor or something.
It's by
barely
2 centimeters. It's smaller.
Okay.
So S13 brakes fit this just fine for front and rear. And then I had asked my buddy Chino, Florida C33 pink.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and he has a green one now too.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I asked him to, ask around, Laurel groups, hey, does anyone know the sizing? He's like, well, it's Ultima rears and S13 fronts. So went with that. Z32 rear drum brakes, actually.
Oh, okay.
So they're an internal drum for the e-brake.
I remember that. So you don't have a hydro in this thing, or are you just using the stock handbrake right now?
Stock handbrake. C33 Riley showed me a trick. Just duct tape.
Okay.
Duct tape the button down.
Duct tape the button down, so you don't have a emergency brake anymore, or does that still work somehow?
It works. I just take the duct tape off after track day.
Gotcha.
Unloop it up.
So you're upgrading to the Z32 rear brake for drifting purposes, or
they're just the same Z32 internal drums.
Oh, okay.
So I just want new drums because my drums are getting kind of.
Gotcha. Just as a little bit of an upgrade and replace just to keep it on the road. Make sure you're still stopping.
Yeah, e-brake time, yeah.
Yeah, and you said you're cleaning up the wheels too, right?
Yes, so I'm sending them out to an alloy shop in Tacoma just to have them redo them. They quoted me a good price, and I got the wheels kind of, they were clean, but they weren't the cleanest, and driving this initially, I wasn't the greatest driver in right-hand drive because it is a learning curve.
Yeah, it's a pretty big difference for at least a month or two.
Yeah.
What wheels are they for people who aren't too familiar in the wheel game?
These are SSR Longchamps, the cloudiest little wheels that ever could be.
So these are what every AE86 and S13 owner probably wants for at least a year of their life. The Longchamps. I don't remember where they first appeared or what really made them popular, but I mean,
a good-looking wheel.
It's a fantastic looking wheel. I mean,
yeah.
Look at it.
I love the look of it. My stack of air fresheners, I love to leave in the car. I have a Longchamp air freshener.
There you go.
That my buddy, who was a Z31 with Z32 VG30 DET swap in, gave me.
Nice. Yeah, when I was into the Advans, the first thing I did was start making Advan merch and Advan air fresheners.
I will say the Advans look good, but I'm gonna be honest, I need a deep 3-spoke.
Yeah, a deep 3-spoke, it'll definitely be... I mean, my end goal, I would like to eventually start manufacturing wheels, and I want to make 3-piece 3-spokes that you can, build to whatever spec you want.
I need like that.
Yeah, we all need a deep 3-piece 3-spoke.
Yeah, but it has long champs. I have R35 coil pack conversion as well.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
That's awesome.
It's going on this weekend. It was pricey for the coil bracket and just the wiring.
What brand did you go with? Do you remember?
Small company. It's called Creative Ignition.
Okay.
It was about $400 and something for their whole setup. I didn't hear too much about it. I don't know many people running it. But I was actually talking to the owner. It's I found their eBay page, and they had an eBay page set up for just that specific thing. I was talking to them, and the owner was really communicative, explained some things. Full instruction booklet in it to wire it in.
That's awesome. So for people that don't really know what we're talking about, the ignition coils on an RB20, it's usually just plug wires, right, coming from the distributor. Not on an RB20, because explain what a R35. You take the ignition coils from an R35 and put it on.
So the way the ignition system works on RB20s, RB25s, and I believe 26s is the ignition has an igniter block, which is
that's right.
The weird brick that killed my car one time or made a misfire. And that igniter block wire, it has a loom. It plugs into a loom, and that loom has all the coil packs on it, and they're not considered smart coils.
Gotcha.
Because they're managed by the igniter pack. Most RB guys, for reliability and heat management, because those tend, when they get hot, they actually cause a misfire as well. And
power is heat, so when you start boosting your car, making a bunch of power, it's getting a little bit hotter, and then those stock coil packs just start pooping out after, every rip.
And they're expensive.
Yeah, and then these smart coils, which came on the Nissan GTR, the R35.
And the 370Z, they're VQ.
That's right.
Yes. Got some set of those for like $200. So.
Yeah.
Those, a lot of guys also do LS or Audi R8 because they fit in well. It's just personal preference. I think SR guys do they do Yaris.
That's right, the Yaris.
Yeah, they do Yaris coil packs.
I've heard a couple of the S15s. I know that a lot of people are doing the Yaris coil conversions. So you have R35 coils sitting on the side for this thing. So you're throwing a bunch of boost at it. You're throwing some more spark at it. You're gonna stay straight piped? Are you just gonna?
Yes. So I went and spent the extra $109 to buy the it's Megan Racing. They make a 3-inch VIP blast tip.
Okay.
It's 3-inch to 2 3-inch exits.
Perfect. Like the old ISIS blast pipes.
Exactly. And I'm probably gonna trim to an angle.
I love those. I've seen a couple people actually cut them to a spike.
Yeah. So I'm going to leave it hanging out the back pretty long. I'm actually going to go a little bit longer.
Jesus.
And more up.
You're going to lose it to the wall at Spirit Peaks.
It's a wall. It's like curb feelers, but for walls.
Curb feelers for your fucking taillights.
Yeah. This is, I've only really seen the track once. And actually, my mom was riding passenger.
Okay, so you took your mom to the track. Tell me about that, because one of the questions I got here was, have you drifted the car?
Yes. I've drifted the car, but I took my mom with me to Evergreen. It was a rainy day. I actually went out with C33 Riley. She was ripping on her C33, and I had mine out there.
Awesome.
The VLSD in this thing is terrible.
It's just stock VLSD?
Yes.
So, it's not an LSD at this point.
I refreshed it and threw some LSD at it.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's good.
But at this point, there's a shim. I forget the part number. I used to have it memorized. I have it sitting in my apartment just waiting to go on. I just have to pull my gears out. But what that does is it's better than welding it.
Because it locks it up?
Yeah, it locks it up. But I took my mom out, got a good couple runs on the technical course. Getting on the actual main course they were running, I would either spin out or I wouldn't get any lock.
So because it was raining. We talked about it in the last episode with Brian. Or no, I think it was Mitch. But Evergreen in the rain is absolutely useless. Getting off the bank and going through the midfield is impossible.
Yeah, I was trying to get through the midfield, and it was like either I would get something or the VLC wouldn't lock up. And when I would get something, I'm like, okay, well, keep play with the throttle, play with the brake, pull the e-brake a little. and it's just like, nope, nope, spin.
Just straight out or spin or do everything but what you want it to do.
Yeah, so I did a lot of the technical course just because being newer to track drifting, I would like to say, because we all enjoy.
So you have driven it on the street. You've done a couple corners here and there, or
we all enjoy the Hoon life, and there's some really good mountain roads out here that exist, and there's some really good roads back in California that exist.
Camp 1. You taking this thing up to Camp 1?
Actually, I took my RX-7 up to Camp 1.
You did? Nice.
Back when I had that was fun. I got to run the toge with a S2K.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was fun. NA RX-7 with a racing beat header.
Sounded screaming, bouncing off the yeah. That was probably a fun drive, and then an S2000 revving out to $9,000. So I'm sure that was not a quiet rip.
Yeah, we were trying to keep it slow for the rabbit behind us.
Yeah, so they could keep up.
Yeah, but I like to take this out. Late nights when it's raining, no one's on the road.
Yeah.
Obviously you got to observe how to be safe.
For sure.
You got to know your own limits, but
got to be respectful of property as well. So let's talk about I think my next question was, what was the worst crash you've ever had with this thing? Which probably takes us back to the track day at Evergreen with your mom.
Yes. Well,
or do you have a couple crash stories with this thing?
This thing has been hit 3 times.
Okay, let's hear the 3 stories.
So the first time I was driving home from Best Buy down in Tacoma, right next to the mall, and I had my signal on, was inching out into the other lane because I need to actually get in the right lane instead of the middle lane. And this kid in his mom's Dodge Neon flies by and chips my mirror and dented my fender in and took my turn signal out and my corner.
Oh no, he smacked your front smacked your front corner?
Excuse me. Yeah,
so you were pulling out and your front was just kind of sticking out.
Just out enough for him to...
Man.
So...
Did he stop?
Yeah, we pulled over. He's like, man, what were you doing? I'm like, dude, I was trying to get over. My turn signals were on. You could see the indicator. He's like, and he looked at my car for a second. He's like, oh, whoa, dude, like, my bad, bro. Like, I don't have insurance. I don't have this. I don't have that.
Damn.
And he's like, I'm 19. This is my mom's car. Like, dude, I'm just going to let it go. I'm going to go home. And I'm like...
That's not how this works.
I felt bad for the kid because, like, his mom's Neon didn't look the cleanest already.
Yeah,
so I'm
got you.
Look, dude...
You did your good deed and let him go.
Yeah, I just let him, like, just get on. I had to buy a new turn signal. I found one well-priced on eBay, shipped from Japan.
Good.
My corners, my indicators, I still haven't gotten new ones, so I'm deciding to go to Impreza ones because they look clean.
Nice. So, I mean, obviously they have pretty similar corner lights to the Sylvia front end on these things, so you're going to take the corner light out of the Subaru Legacy?
The turn indicators, the small yellow there, my ambers.
I gotcha.
Just because I got a really nice clean set of clear ones.
Oh, they're going to be clear.
First generation, and I think the clear is going to look heat.
Yeah, I bet. I thought when you were talking about it earlier, you meant the corner light, but you meant the actual turning indicator. Those will look good clear. That'll be perfect, since obviously you have the clear front end. Mm-hmm. So the second injury to this thing, what was the second crash?
The second crash, I was driving home late one night from a friend's house in downtown Tacoma, and it had just rained, and my steers may or may not have been a little bald. And I'm getting on the I-5, and you know how there's always construction on the I-5 out here.
There's been construction on I-5 since the day they opened it.
Exactly. And I hit a puddle of water and lost traction for a second.
So hydroplaning a little bit?
Hydroplaning a little, and there was a row of those big, these aren't caution cones, they're the big caution barrels.
Pylons?
Yeah. And I may or may not have taken my front end to bounce off to one of them. Nothing really happened, nothing broke. I think a piece of my trim kind of popped out. I just epoxied it back in.
Yeah.
But beyond that, nothing major.
Well, I'm glad. It could have been a whole lot worse if it spun you out and put you into the wall or something. Not to kind of veer off topic, but I hydroplaned in a Ford Focus with traction control on one time, and since traction control was on, it hydroplaned and it tried to catch up with the wheel speed for some reason.
God.
So the traction control sped up to 150 miles an hour and yanked the steering wheel out of my hand. It almost threw me into the wall, and the Ford Focus literally went sideways at 60 miles an hour on I-5, and I'm looking at the center median. That was
Front
definitely
wheel drive drifting.
front wheel drive drifting on accident, going above the speed limit on the freeway in the rain with no airbags. It was definitely one of the scariest things that's ever happened.
Do we really need airbags though?
I did at that moment, but I mean, I always know that when you're, I mean, I've lost control of the car a lot of the times. I just kind of let go and let the car do its thing, and it just kind of went right back into the lane. I went, okay, we're just gonna act like that didn't happen, and we just went on my merry way.
Yeah, I feel that. I've had a few too many experiences. Where I'm like, if I go, I go.
Jesus, take the wheel. That's probably where that came from. And I mean, in drifting, if you let go of the wheel, a lot of the times the car will do what the car is meant to do. I mean, the gravity and the momentum of the car will take you where you are basically wanting it to go. So your third crash. Take us to the third crash.
Evergreen.
Okay, so your drift event. Your first drift event.
At Evergreen, yeah. I'd done one at Spirit Peaks at this point in my 240.
Okay.
Which was not fun. That's a whole different story. But I had taken this out. I brought my mom with me because she came to visit me for New Year's, and they had a drift event a couple days later, and she'd stayed to go drifting with me. Got out, tried to run the normal course, wasn't doing the best, so I started running tech course because it was a little bit easier, and I could get the differential lock better on it.
Okay. Because you start the technical course with a donut, which kind of helps probably with the LSD and kind of getting you into a drift.
Yeah, exactly. So those donuts are really helping. I was holding some good angles, and through the way they had the technical course set up that day was a donut, and then you hit sideways here, you link it this way.
So big ass.
It was pretty decent little curve. And then there's 2 tire barriers that you're supposed to link back and link back immediately.
Gotcha.
Well, I'd hit back this way, and when I went to link back this way, the VLSD decided to be an open diff, and I went straight into a tire wall.
So it just opens completely up, and instead of maintaining your slide and transitioning, you just maintain forward.
Yeah, so I was luckily quick enough on threw it out of gear, tap the brakes, slowed her down enough to bump it.
Yeah.
But it was enough to crack some things on my front end, plastic wise.
So front end hits the tires, and you break your front bumper, and you break your dash
grill.
Or your grill there a little bit.
Hey.
We're gonna have to pause here. There seems to be a little bit of music going. Okay, sorry about that. My neighbor decided to blast cumbia at the loudest volume they possibly could. But I put an end to that, don't you worry. I'm just kidding. They left. So we were talking about you crashing at Evergreen. So you end up into the tires, your front end. You crack your grill.
Yeah.
But your mom's in the car. So tell me the experience about crashing with your mom in the car.
Well, I hit it, and I look over. I'm like, "Mom, you good?" And she's like, "I'm okay. My neck hurts a little, but I'm okay."
Oh no.
She ended up being fine. The next couple of days, she rested.
Yeah.
And she didn't get any whiplash. We made sure we had a helmet on her. All in all, I think in general, I try to be a pretty cautious driver when I'm driving, especially this.
Yeah. For sure.
Definitely more of an defensive driver. I don't like to use the word offensive, but definitely more of a driver that just wants to not crash, but also doesn't like going, 35 and a 45.
Yeah, for sure.
So I've definitely picked up a lot on just normal driving and just how to keep my car safe. Plus, I've been driving since I was 18.
How long have you had it? How old were you when you got it?
I bought this when I was 19, about to turn 20.
Oh, okay. So you've had it for a pretty long time? Or
2 years. Picked it up kind of as a birthday present. I picked it up March, so a couple months early. But I've had my 240 since I was 18.
Okay.
So I learned to drive stick actually in that 240 when I was 16. My mom and stepdad, it was my stepdad's first car. He was like, "Hey."
It was your stepdad's first car?
Yep.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, so it actually got passed on to me for free with a blown engine because my mother didn't know the water pump was dead. She just said it kept overheating. So
your mom daily drove a 240 for a while?
Yes, so we got a Ford Focus and the 240 went to my mom. Had the best working AC out of all our cars until I swapped engines.
So you grew up with a 240 at your house and your mom driving a 240? Or how old were you when the 240 kind of
I was around the age of 9 or 10 when my stepdad kind of came into my life. Really cool dude. He brought me onto a lot of anime, a lot of cool video games.
Oh, so he's not just like a random 240 driver. He was kind of into the JDM aspect of all of it.
Yeah, he watched Initial D. He has some Initial D figurines.
That's
It's
awesome.
Like really into Japanese stuff. So he kind of put in my head that I wanted the 240, and my dad was really against it. My biological dad, he wanted to give me a 99 Honda Accord that was in our family.
Yeah, usually my first car was a 94 Accord, and the first car I bought myself was a 240.
Yeah, so my first car was a 240 that was given to me. My first car I bought myself was an 89 Celica GT that I'm pretty sure I bought from a methed out couple.
I'm sure you did buy it from a math out couple.
It was $800. It was 5-speed manual. The suspension was blown and the wheel bearing was out. And if you let go of the steering wheel, it just cut left.
I've definitely had cars like that. That's funny.
Yeah, that was a fun experience. But I drove that when I was living in the barracks. I drove that around with a lot of people in it. I got like 4 people in it at one point.
Oh my god.
We would load military equipment that we had to move, radio systems, because I work IT and we deal with just general communication stuff. We loaded a bunch of radio systems into it. The rear end kind of dumped out.
Slammed.
Moved it still.
There you go.
Oh, that car was great. And then I moved on to a 97 Legacy GT. Also another $800 car. I'm still in touch with the guy occasionally. He's doing other things. He has a kid and wife now.
Nice.
His girl was pregnant and they were engaged at the time. So
it's good keeping it in contact with the people that you buy stuff from.
Yeah, that 97 Legacy GT went bye-bye the day I was on the I-5 in the middle of the night, driving a buddy to the airport because he was going on leave. And it decided that 2 of 4 pistons wanted to crack.
Oh, no.
So 2 of 4 pistons cracked. It spun a rod bearing.
Okay.
And blew both head gaskets.
It sounds like a Subaru to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's EJ25D. I had that sitting around for a while. I was going to WRX swap it. And I had 3 or 4 WRX engines sitting at my buddy Patrick's house.
Stacking them up?
Yeah, they were literally stacked up and boxes of parts for it. I saw the Supra. I got the Supra at the same time as I had the 97 Legacy GT still running. So I was dating the Supra for a while. I ended up getting the Laurel later on down the line, getting a 91 or 93 Legacy wagon, 25th anniversary edition. I was dating the Legacy wagon, and I'd given the Supra to a buddy to drive because his car was down.
Yeah.
And it went bye-bye on the I-5 as well.
Oh, no.
I'm pretty sure, I knew what was wrong. I just didn't have the funds to fix it. It was full head gasket, new water pump.
Yeah.
Needed the whole starter rewired.
Needed a service.
Needed a lot of service.
Gotcha.
So that went off, and now the guy that has it has 2J swapped it and has left it dirty with the same stickers I have left on it.
Oh my god.
But it has a 2J.
That's
and the cheapy,
something.
I had a cheapy MB Battle 5 spokes on it. I love the car to that.
Good looking car.
It was a good looking car. Even with we rattle canned it black because like the paint was fading and like it had one red fender.
Nice.
So yeah. Had that. I had an 87 Celica GTS for parts hatch. I had a 300ZX twin turbo I bought for $300.
$300?
Ran barely, but ran.
Barely, like a lot of them. They're all fucking shit boxes.
No title, ran barely. Got it from some dude because he was in the military too, and he was like, "I'm PCSing soon." He was drunk, and he was like, "I'll sell it to you for $300 right now."
Oh shit.
Gave him $300. He's like, "Okay, here's the key."
Nice.
Put my buddy's Spares E32 ECU on it. Started it. Kind of limped. We put some more gas in it. Limped it on blown tires across base.
Nice.
Parked it up. Met some guys at the front gate like a week later and sold it for $1,200.
Nice. Made a nice little profit off it.
Good profit off of it.
Didn't really have to even touch it.
Yeah. God, I've had way too many cars.
What's the chassis that you want the most? I mean, you'll probably have the Laurel for this foreseeable future, but I mean, if money wasn't an object and you could build whatever car you want, what would you want?
I have 2.
Okay, let's hear them.
So my dream car, I have a dream supercar and then a dream car.
Okay.
Is a 1988 Toyota Supra Turbo A 3.0 GT.
3.0 GT, yeah, just the best Mark III Supra there is.
The Turbo A was a 500 run amalgamation for Toyota's Group A racing.
Okay, to make it legal for racing on the track.
They came with smoked black Supra saw blades. So
what? I didn't know that.
yeah.
Damn.
Different crossover pipe. slightly larger CT26 stamped with, I think, a C or an R. Different tune on the ECU, slightly beefier injectors, a better intercooler, and a Momo steering wheel.
Really?
And leather seats.
Dude, it's just basically the best of everything. Okay.
But it was a 7M GT.
Yeah, and there's only 500 of them made. What are they going for now? Probably astronomical figures.
Last time I had been offered one, it was sight unseen. Like, I had pictures of it, but I couldn't actually see it in person.
Yeah.
With, I think, 30,000 miles, was 26,000, and it was in Texas. And they wanted me to fly out and drive it back. They wouldn't ship it.
Oh, that's kind of shady. But I mean...
But it was from a reputable dealer of these Supras.
Oh,
and
I gotcha.
The guy that owns the company that imports them had a couple more.
Okay. He had a 3 or 4 out of the 500.
Yeah.
So he was stocking them and hoarding them because I'm sure they'll be worth a pretty penny one day.
Exactly. Very few people know about them. They just know about the Mark III.
Are they left-hand drive or are they right-hand drive?
They're right-hand drive.
They are right-hand drive. Gotcha. Okay. So then your other dream chassis besides that, what would that be?
The last of the gated manual Audi R8 V10s.
Yeah.
Because they never made the V10 Plus and a gated manual, but they made the V10.
Those gated manuals. I mean... It's really good.
I want it in all white with a black top.
Oh, there you go. I look like a big old Oreo. Double stuffed.
Double stuffed. I'll take the rear bumper off and throw some sheepy in the back.
Everyone deserves a little bit of sheepy in the back. Oh my god. Yeah, if you could pick a favorite build in the Pacific Northwest, if you had a favorite car out of all of them being built right now, or even a past car, what would your favorite car be?
Personally, I
Name off a couple.
So, Auto Tragic JZX Mike.
Auto Tragic JZX Mike.
The boosted 70-something Cressida 2J.
Oh, I have seen. Did he have a Hoonigan build breakdown?
I believe so.
I saw that.
I watched him race my buddy's 96 Cobra on the freeway, and he made the Cobra look like he was standing still in power band.
Okay.
So, not incriminating everyone. They were doing the speed limit, 30 miles.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he was just doing 35.5 miles an hour to leave him in the dust.
35 to 16, that was it.
Yeah, he got up to the speed limit.
Got up to the speed limit. It was in Mexico, too.
Oh, yeah, he did the speed limit all the way to Mexico. Obviously, that's the race. That's what street racing is.
Driving slowly in Mexico.
Duh.
My very, 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 very unknown dude is actually my really good friend Patrick. And the only reason I love his build is he took an 84 Mazda B2000. I've been here for bits and pieces of helping him build it. Mm-hmm. And we've towed with the stock 4-cylinder that made all 72 horsepower.
You towed with it?
Yeah, we towed my Legacy GT with it. And it was out of time, too. So it was making 56 horsepower.
Huh. And for those of you that don't know, Mazda B2000 or B2000 or B2200?
B2000.
B2000, it's a small 4-cylinder mini truck. It's carbureted mini truck that makes less power than cylinder 4 of this car here.
Yeah. So he pulled the engine on that. He was originally going to do a 12A rotary swap with an excavator turbo bolted up to it.
That would be insane.
But he decided to go with a 302, and the 302 is currently sitting in the truck.
Okay, so he's got a Mustang power plant in what year is the B2000?
84, so it's the same as the Ford Courier.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so that, I'm sure that is not the easiest swap, but I'm sure there are people out there that have done it before.
And they make a mount kit. He had to do a lot of custom fab, especially on the headers. It's carbureted still. Mm-hmm. It has a C4 automatic behind it now.
Nice.
And hopefully by the end of this week, he will have a drive shaft on it, and he got a set of 15x10s, probably 5 or 6 15x10 Hoosiers for the back.
Oh, shit. So he's going to put some rubber to the ground.
Yeah.
So is he building it to be a tow rig, or is he building it to just be a hot rod?
Hot rod.
Hot rod, okay.
He's trying to make it as sleeper as possible with cutouts, so it'll have full exhaust.
Awesome.
But that thing maybe weighs 2,600 pounds.
Yeah, those trucks are light. Obviously the bed weighs nothing.
Oh, the bed's the heaviest part. We've had to lift those beds off before.
Okay. But they're small trucks. They don't weigh anything. And the frame rails are this big.
Mm-hmm. So, hopefully he doesn't die, because there's no brake upgrades for those. They're so niche.
Yeah, so he's... Does it at least have disc brakes up front, or is it drum on all four corners?
Disc up front, drum in the rear.
That's good. He's got at least some rotors somewhere.
Yeah. But that's one of my favorite builds because I've been personally involved with it, and it's just, I mean, we've done stupid things like bolting a 3SG turbo onto a 5 SFE in his old Celica.
Oh, Jesus.
And making 8 PSI with no real tuning except messing with the distributor and putting 7M GT injectors and a fuel pump in the back.
Oh, God. I'm sure that was quite the project.
It ran 8 PSI.
It did it. You can say it did it. So, I mean, another topic. Have you ever been scammed in the car industry or in the car space? I mean, a couple people that I've talked to, not on the podcast, but in my DMs, have bought stuff from manufacturers, and it isn't exactly how they advertised it. Have you ever bought anything online?
Yes.
Or what's your experience?
So I bought a rear high cast lockout.
Okay. What's that?
From Laurel R33 GTSCs. A lot of the Nissans have this rear steer system. It's terrible for drifting, great for handling.
So the rear wheels actually turn. They have they actually have inner and outer tie rods on.
Yes.
On the rear subframe.
Yes. So I think it's either 4 or 7 degrees of steering counter. So if your front wheel's going this way, your back wheels go this way.
Kind of like just a much smaller version of a monster truck. When you see a monster truck turn, the opposite wheels turn in the rear. It just obviously kind of helps you at high speeds or cornering, handling. But that came stock on the Laurel, but that obviously not good for drifting. So
no, and also it was kind of annoying to have.
I'm sure.
It was great for backing into spots. Don't get me wrong, because it worked at low speed, and I think it worked over 30 or 40 miles an hour. Mm-hmm. So it worked up to 10 miles an hour, and then didn't for a while, and then started working again. But I had bought. I bought a GK Tech high cast lockout kit, and they sent me an S14 high cast lockout kit.
Oh no!
And it didn't work, and I ended up driving to Yakima like 3 days later because I didn't have a rear. My rear wheels were doing this.
Yeah.
Because I had pulled the whole high cast system out when I got the system.
So S14s came with high cast too?
Yes.
I didn't know that. I thought it was just the S13s and the R32s, and obviously the Laurels.
So I got sent that, and I emailed them, and I never received a response back.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
They just ignored me. So I was like, okay, I guess I have this. I gave it to my buddy who has, I think the S14 shared the R33 GTSC, so I gave it to him.
Yeah. So how did you end up eventually locking out your high-cast in this thing?
I drove to Yakima to buy a $40 high-cast lockout bar for an S13 off some guy.
Yeah.
Didn't have the flange nuts that I needed because the S14 flange nuts were different. So I ended up leaking most of my power steering fluid out after I just tried to loop the system with a line.
Gotcha.
Killed my stock power steering pump. I replaced it with a KA24DE power steering pump. I had to replace it with the bracket and the step pump.
Yeah, I guess I forgot that obviously the power steering has to go all the way to the rear in the Heinke system. Mm-hmm. So you have lines running from the front of the engine bay all the way to the rear subframe. Yeah. So, I mean, that's, I'm guessing, a headache, and especially deleting it. It obviously seems like it kind of ruined your power steering system.
Yeah, it did. I've had power steering on and off in this car. It still leaks at points. So one of these weekends, probably this weekend because I have a couple days off work too, I'll be pulling the whole system out and capping lines properly this time. But yeah, killed by power steering. I replaced power steering pump. Just drive without power steering right now. I mean,
it's a light enough car, and
yeah.
I mean with smaller wheels. Does this have an angle kit or modified steering on it at all? It's stock steering up front.
Stock steering.
Nice.
Yeah, it holds enough angle I need.
It does the job.
I mean, get some forearm strength into it, yank it on her.
Powered by Armstrong. What have you done? What modifications have you done to the car yourself while you've owned it? I mean, obviously you said it had some bolt-ons and a little bit of power modifications when you bought it from Right Hand Drive Specialties, but what flavors and touches have you done to it?
I've done a lot of Hooney stuff to it.
Okay, stuff to make it a drift car more than just a fun street car?
Yeah, so BR rev limiter because...
Pops and bangs.
Pops and bangs. It's nice to see, a 3-foot-long fireball come out the back of my
it
car.
Does shoot flames?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
God, love it.
We can turn the lights off and maybe get a couple clips. Maybe we'll do that.
Yeah, I did this EM USA front mount intercooler just for the time being because I had bought off of a guy on Facebook Marketplace a Blitz tuned RB20 ECU, which was set up for a different fuel map. It's a Blitz ship tune from way back in the day.
Yeah, it's
like
old school shit.
Like old school. Like my ECU says Blitz on it.
That's awesome.
So I bought that. I put that in, and then I went and immediately pulled my front bumper off, cut my front bumper so it'll actually fit a front mount intercooler, because the stock Nissan intercooler is about this big by about that deep.
Is it a front mount stock or is it a side mount in the fender well?
Yeah, it's a side mount in the fender well, right on my front wheel area.
Yeah.
I kept all the plastics for it just because I want to go back to stock. I even have the thing still.
Yeah, if you ever want to convert this thing back to stock and ask $30,000 for it next year, you probably
just roll back the mileage.
Maybe don't say that on the cameras. They're still rolling. He didn't roll back the mileage. If you're checking out this in about 2 years and you see a 37,000 mile Laurel for sale for $30,000.
No, I don't think I'm actually ever going to park with this car, just because, like...
I mean, this is the car that you've probably spent the most time with and put the most love and time into.
Beyond my 240, which I wouldn't even say I put the most time in, because the engine swap took me like 2 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, this car definitely is the one that I'm like, when I have kids one day, they will get this car.
Let's roll through some of the pictures here. We've been stagnant on the pictures, or the first picture here. We'll go back to... these are the wheels, obviously, if you guys didn't see from the beginning. These are the... Tell them what they are again.
The SSR Longchamps. I think these are the photos that my buddy Josh, photographer, the LS400 guy, he took these like a week before I left, because I went to one car meet before I left.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the ones out in Spanaway that they have parking chills.
Mm-hmm.
It's really nice. You can see my cheapy Westlakes on the back.
Yeah, nice little drift tires. I saw this and pulled it. I just want to know what the Club S is.
So the different trims of the Laurel, and the only ones actually, I was recently in Japan for a couple days. The only ones I saw in Japan were actually just medalists.
Medalists, okay. I've definitely seen that term floating around in the Laurel community.
So you have like your stock Laurel. I think there's medalist, and then there's a trim higher than medalist. But I know the medalist Club S is the highest possible trim, I believe.
Okay.
So that was the full suede interior, RB20 DET. I think it had slightly bigger stock wheels.
Okay.
And it had just the Club S badging and the medalist, and on the rear it says twin cam 24 valve turbo.
So this is the highest tier of the Laurel that you think you can get? Well,
I believe so.
Besides, there's probably a couple.
I mean, diesel Laurel's higher tier than this.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
As prices right now, yeah.
Let's see. You wanted to... Let's see... Yeah, I love this picture. You obviously just bottoming out with the...
So, funny story about this picture. So, Josh, he's primarily my photographer. He's a buddy of mine. He drives LS400. Probably link him on this.
Mm-hmm.
But we had done the Springback meet. I showed up kind of late. I was kind of busy dealing with other things in life. And I'd shown up late, and I was going to leave, and I bottomed out leaving. And so I was stuck.
Oh, you were stuck.
So I was stuck. So we popped my trunk and had like 6 guys jump in my trunk and just start
trying to slam it down.
And finally we got over, and I got to a position where I was sitting here, but I was still, my subframe was still, or my frame was still on the ground.
Yeah.
So he sped off around me, pulled up to the side, and got his camera out and started taking photos as I was pulling out, and just got all the sparks.
Yeah, that's perfect. I love the sparks coming out from underneath it.
Yeah, it's great.
Sirikawa just swinging. Yeah. Obviously you're trying to hum it over that thing. But got some nice cruisers of this thing as well.
This is still how it looks with the no front bumper.
Let's see if we can find there's the bumper. There's the clean look. Oh, I see the fear of dying banner on there. Do you truly have a fear of death, or was it just for the clout?
That's a bit of a long-winded topic to speak about. I don't...
You don't have to answer that question.
Yeah. There's a long-winded topic on my situation and fear of dying. And
let's talk about it. You want to talk about it?
It was poor choices on my part. Definitely kind of falling more into the unsavory side of the car community and making some stupid choices because I was bored.
Yeah.
And I had a shitty RX-7 to beat on.
Gotcha.
But I've since pulled away from a lot of that, especially with just how wild things are getting out here.
Yeah, for sure.
So they were like, we just don't want you really repping us anymore. I'm like, I'm cool with you guys. I'm cool with that. Understand.
Ouch. Sorry for bringing it up.
No, it's completely fine by me. Like, I have no issue with them. I have no issue with their decision.
Yeah.
I do have an issue with kind of the way it got pushed onto me versus there's some other people that do other things.
Yeah, I mean, if it's gonna be
One
cracked
person.
down on you, it might as well be. Well,
Everyone.
it should be enforced throughout.
Now I run the It's Revenge banner, and I've always had the Lucky Knight on there. I love Lucky Knight, just their old school JDM style.
Okay. And those are just are they local brands or where are they based out of?
I don't actually know where Lucky Knight is based out of, but I do know Revenge is based out of Canada.
Nice.
Really cool dude, really communicative. Stickers are
High quality.
Yeah, and actually that's the first Revenge Playboy bunny that he sent out.
Let's see if we can find a picture of the banner with the Revenge. Yeah, you can kind of see it in that picture. It says Revenge, but the V is the ears of the Playboy bunny. It's a
And then
sick
it actually
banner.
has like a chick in the middle of it.
Oh, I didn't even realize.
Yeah.
Oh, that is a sick banner. I love that.
So he sent me the first run of that.
That's awesome.
So like a month before he dropped it, he's like, "I'm sending you this, but you can't post about it." I was like,
Awesome.
"Oh shit, okay."
You're VIP, and then you got the I forgot what the pinstriping on the front headlight there.
Yeah, my photographer also hand cut that.
Oh, he did. That's
Yeah.
awesome. It
He
looks
measured
good.
out my light and he's like, "I'm gonna do this for you."
That's a fun little piece to the front end. Let's see what. Are you doing a burnout in this picture here?
Yeah, we were leaving a. It was up in Edmonds, Edmonds Dick. I'm so used to Kent Dick's.
Edmonton and Edmonds. It's big.
Yeah, everyone does a Kent Dick's car meet.
Oh, yeah.
Saturday night, you go there, get burgers with your buddies,
Yep.
chill. But it was the Edmonds one, I believe, the Edmonds Dicks, and they do every Saturday night. They do a car meet out there, and me and my buddies drove all the way up to go parks, hang out, and on the way out, they're like, everyone's freaking out because I'm two-stepping it. They're like, "Do a burnout." So I'm like, all right. Rev her up, dump the clutch, spin them out, get through.
I really like how the wheels look in this picture too. They look super
shiny.
deep and shiny. Hopefully that's what they look like here in a couple weeks.
Oh, hopefully, yeah.
Get the FOD off there.
I don't care. I have all the FOD pictures. There's my old parking signal. That's 15 one, yeah.
Yeah, the parking pole on the front bumper.
That's still when I had RHD Specialties on the front as well.
Oh, you had a right-hand drive specialties banner on it? Because they put it on the front of every car.
I used to have their stickers on everything. I pulled them off because I look kind of corny with this.
Yeah. I mean, they definitely just do it for advertisement purposes.
And I think that's C33 Riley's old... Is that a Chaser?
Yeah, I couldn't tell if it was an R32 or a Chaser.
It's a Chaser. It's the four-door.
Okay.
I think she still has it.
Nice. Yeah, it obviously looks more put together and more of a street car in this picture with the front bumper and the parking pole on it. It's more true to its roots, just authentic JDM, big body on the ground, small wheels. That's just...
Definitely slower, though.
Yeah, definitely slower, I'm sure.
Because I don't necessarily want to be the fastest out there. I just want to be faster than maybe an RT Challenger.
It's not hard to be faster than an RT Challenger, I'll tell you that right now. And it's not hard to drive better than anyone that owns an RT Challenger. No offense to anyone that drives a Mopar, but you're all pieces of shit. Speaking of Mopar drivers, how do you feel about takeovers and the cancer that has become part of the community?
So you're going to hate me.
Okay, let's hear it. I've had people on the couch that have already told me they've participated in...
So back about 2 years ago, and even up to a year and a half ago, I would participate, especially during COVID.
Okay.
But when I would participate, I would know some of the people that led it, and I would be like, are they only warehouses tonight?
Yeah.
Because in my own eyes, right, I find no issue with people going to an empty parking lot and doing a donut.
Yeah.
Or an empty warehouse lot and doing donuts.
I kind of don't even associate the takeover. I mean, obviously they're associated, but I don't classify going to an empty parking lot. Maybe not a parking lot, but a warehouse. Being in an industrial area where there aren't chances of people rolling up on you and obviously injuring people.
And so that's what I primarily went to. I would only go to those. I'd roll up to the pre-meet and be like, I'd go talk about how many warehouses are there only warehouses. And the minute he's like, oh, we're going to go to a street at this point,
So I guess I haven't even really got into the details. So obviously, are the locations planned in advance for a takeover, or how does it even work?
They're kind of just drop. People just send them out. But I would ask the leader. They wouldn't give me the spot. They'd be like, we're going to go to XYZ warehouse. And they'd name them. But I would really only participate to go to the warehouse. Because getting Hooney is fun. And having people like, oh, dude, you're going,
Yeah. And obviously, this was a while ago. This was kind of before the
real street meets when somebody got hit. So once they started getting really deep and really bad, I was like, I can't even roll up to the meetup spot to see if there's a warehouse. I just like going to the warehouse, just burn my tires up. You know, it gives you something to do on the weekends.
Yeah.
And I mean, with the way it looks, with the amount of people that I definitely tried to keep people away. Like I would like shoot people back. Like
you don't want people mobbing in the center of the pit. What do they call it? The pit.
The pit. I didn't want people close to me. I didn't want to hit somebody.
Yeah.
Like the worst spot I think I ever actually participated in was an empty cul-de-sac in an industrial park.
Yeah.
But I mean, still not an active like center street where somebody can get hit and die.
Intersections and neighborhoods
And freeways.
And freeways. Okay, I haven't even really I kind of forgot about the whole freeway and bridge aspect of it.
Yeah.
Because the bridge thing was there for a while where they would literally shut down both sides and every entrance to a bridge, and they would do burnouts and donuts and things that kind of resemble that for a while. And obviously, if they're shutting it down and people aren't driving on the bridge, there's not a whole lot of people that are going to be prone to... I mean, once you get into an intersection and once you're on a street and you're doing it, and you're putting actual just civilians in danger in broad daylight in neighborhoods, and like you said, you were in a cul-de-sac, but in an industrial cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
I have seen videos of people in fucking neighborhoods actually rolling up, taking over, and then just driving off like nothing happened after taking out 3 different people and leaving literally bodies in the dust.
Yeah, exactly. So my whole thing on it was like I really only participated in still unsafe, still not legally the most safer.
More of in the street drifting aspect of
it. Like you get a couple of your buddies and you go out to the middle of nowhere and drift in an empty warehouse parking lot. Like, it doesn't matter. It's just there's like 100 people there watching you.
The only person you're really putting in danger is yourself.
Myself and the people that are there to view. They are willing. They've already accepted the risk.
They're willing participants.
They're willing participants. So, like that's my extent of it. And that's actually kind of one of the reasons. That's primarily the reason Fear of Dying was like, we don't want you in there anymore because you're putting a bad name. And I was like,
I gotcha.
Like I'm only really here to participate for these safer environments.
And I mean, I don't want to put any offense on you or obviously anyone that's associated with any of this, but I completely understand where Fear of Dying is coming from with disassociating with people that participate in these events. I mean, if you run a company and you run something like this where obviously anyone's representing your company and putting your stickers on their... Obviously, when you have something like that, they associate this car with this company. And
I completely agreed with it. Like I even spoke with I forget his name because I don't actually talk to him that much. But I spoke with the guy that owns the 3 Series.
Farmer.
Farmer. Yeah, I texted Farmer and like, look, dude, I love your brand. Like I'll take it off.
Yeah.
Like I respect that. Like I understand. I think I was kind of salty about it. So I was like, I get it, but like I don't understand why you're getting at me when I'm going to like warehouses.
Yeah.
Going to environments where
you were never really at a point where you were putting civilians in danger.
Yeah, I made sure I didn't put myself in a position in which A, I could get arrested, and B, I could harm or kill somebody.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be in that position of which like, well, I just killed somebody or I just hit somebody's car really bad.
Yeah, and these takeovers are truly ruining people's lives. When you see these clips on Instagram of the people getting sideswiped by a SRT8 or...
the common term is stay back or get smacked.
Stay back or get smacked. If you see someone getting smacked, you're watching their pelvis go through their asshole. And those people are never walking again. So live with that fact the next time you want to go to a sideshow and show off your Chevy Camaro with an automatic transmission and 6 cylinders under the hood.
Now, if you do, however, get a couple buddies together and find an empty parking lot in the middle of nowhere, have fucking fun.
Have fun. I mean, if you are driving properly set up, this is where I think that if you are going to go out on the streets and you are going to put people in danger, you should at least be familiar with your car and the ins and outs of your car and what your car is capable of doing before just going out there and seeing what you're capable of doing on the streets. When, I mean, if you just take your stock G35 to an intersection or to a warehouse or something and just start playing around, there is a much, much greater risk of you injuring yourself, injuring your car, injuring private property on a car that you're not familiar with. when it's a bunch of drifters that have taken their car apart 2, 3, 4 times and actually know what they're doing and actually are familiar with the sport of sliding, the art of drifting, which it truly is.
It's definitely difficult.
It's definitely difficult. I mean, you need to become at least affluent in cars and drifting before you go out there. I would say before putting yourself and other people at risk or in danger,
And
go out by yourself or find a totally empty parking lot with no one else. I don't know. Just get a feel for your car. Get a feel for the environment before you truly take your car to a warehouse sight unseen or to a takeover sight unseen and try to slide in the pit, because you're the one that's going to end up on Instagram and you're going to be the one that ends up with a lawsuit. You're going to be the one that catches charges when you run over a family of 4.
And speaking of that, like I definitely wasn't the one getting clout out there.
Yeah.
And because people didn't know what I'm driving, this piece of shit 4-door.
I mean, truly, if you're not in the JDM space and you see your car, you're going to think it's a 99 Accord.
Something in the realm of Cressida, Camry.
Yeah.
It gets called that
Camry,
a lot.
I meant Camry, not Accord.
But really speaking on that, like, growing up in California and, like, having my 240 with an open differential, like, when I was 18, obviously I took it out on rainy days and fucking smacked it around the streets, you know?
Yeah.
You had to have a little fun.
As any high schooler in a rear-wheel drive car does.
Exactly.
They slide it a little bit.
And I truly figured out the day I almost hit a parked Accord. It was like 3 a.m. and I'd taken it out after a rain day. And I almost hit a parked Accord because I got it sideways with the open diff and then immediately like...
Shit.
And I was like, oh God. I was like, turn out. It was locking up on me, but I luckily missed it. And that was the day I realized, like, I need to practice this more. So, like, I had taken my own time to take my Supra to there's an empty school parking lot late at night that I would take to, and
which are perfect because I mean an open school parking lot, they usually don't have like the parking barriers and the medians. You literally just have flat asphalt for probably 5,000 or 6,000 square feet.
So I figured a lot of that out, and then I started using the Laurel a bit more, and then I got my RX-7. My RX-7 was my main, like, get sideways.
Was that modified at all? I mean, it had the Racing Beat header, or the, what header did you say?
It was a Racing Beat header.
Racing Beat header.
Pace setter header to Racing Beat exhaust.
Okay.
Straight pipe to the exhaust. It had a mean exhaust leak because the header was held on with 3 out of 4 bolts, so I bolted it back in.
Sounded like a YZF 125.
Yeah. V-mount radiator. Stock NA.
Okay.
5-speed manual, short throw eBay shifter that at one point slipped out of the yoke.
Oh no.
So I drove it home in 3rd gear.
That's, I think, what happened to Adam LZ's Chaser at the last Super D. His shifter literally just came out, but it was stuck in gear still, so he had to compete for the rest of the event just in 3rd gear.
Yeah, I mean, 3rd gear is a perfectly fine
That's
gear.
all you need.
Yeah, really. It's like a 1-drive automatic.
Exactly, 1 speed.
It had coil. I believe it was TN coilovers. I picked it up. I traded a. God, what did I trade for it? I traded a Toyota van because I had a Toyota Corolla A82 hatch.
Oh, really?
That was fully gutted with a 4-valve or 20-valve 4AG.
There you go.
So silver top 20-valve 4AGs.
That's a cool little car.
Full Jasma header, full straight pipe back, fully
Hell yeah.
gutted on BCs with front and rear strut brace.
What?
And Anki 92s.
That was a good car. What color was it?
It was white.
Ooh! What?
With fender mirrors. And it had a bucket seat. And I traded to my buddy for his Toyota van to trade the Toyota van for the RX-7.
Toyota van? What do you mean Toyota van?
The Heist Master Race type of van.
Oh, right-hand drive?
No.
Oh. Okay.
USDM. They were called Toyota vans.
I know.
Weird.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
He actually loves collecting. He has 3 of those AA82s.
Nice.
And he has, I think he sold all of his Toyota vans. Older dude in the Army. I met him through just randomly on base. I saw his AA82. So he took mine. I took the Toyota van. Traded that for an RX-7. Beat the shit out of it. And had the Volk Rays Mazda Speed 5 spokes.
Ooh,
18s.
hell, 18s? I bet the thing is... Your camera died.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so camera number 1 died. We'll probably just end this out on camera number 2. Move this to the right here a little bit. This interview's been going for an hour and 15 minutes. We'll probably cut it to here. I do appreciate you stopping by.
Definitely.
And talking about some of your past shitty JDM cars and your current JDM car.
Always shitty. Never better.
They're all shitty.
Hey man, it's just fun.
Even the ones that you dump $150,000 into, it's still a Japanese shitbox.
There's still a zip tie somewhere.
There's still a zip tie somewhere. Even on Adam LZ's $250,000 GTR, there's some zip ties on there. I can promise you that.
It's not truly JDM if there isn't a zip tie.
It's not truly JDM if there's not a zip tie. Yeah, good phrase. Do you have anything to promote before we get out of here?
I don't really promote myself. If you want to follow me, follow me. If you don't follow me. If you want to leave hate comments, leave hate comments. If you want to leave positive comments, leave positive comments. In general, I promote you, obviously. I stand by your brand. I stand by what you do.
Thank you.
Just in general, not really. I mean, there are amazing brands out there. It's Revenge. My buddy Josh at Kimchi. His tag is spelled out weird, but it's at Kimchi. He's my photographer. He does great photography, including like family photos. So if you want to take your family photo in front of your JDM car, you can.
There you go. And then follow you on Instagram at Run64.
Yes.
It'll probably be at the bottom of the screen here.
Beyond that, just stay shitty.
Stay shitty.
Love your friends and love your cars.
Check on your friends too. If
Definitely check on your friends.
Any
always.
quiet friends you haven't heard from in a while, shoot them a text. Check on them.
Go on a cruise with them.
Go on a cruise. Take them for a ride. Take them for a cruise in your shitbox.
Go get boba.
Go get boba. Boba's always a mood booster.
Definitely.
All right. I appreciate you coming by, sitting in my hot garage for a little bit over an hour, bringing your car by.
Definitely comfortable.
Go through, subscribe to the YouTube channel, watch all of it on Spotify, on Stitcher, all of the streaming platforms. Follow us on Instagram at Dlzonwlz, and we'll see you on the next episode. Peace.
Deuces.
I close my eyes and I see